Hello everyone, welcome to Education ET. Before I start the video lecture, I want to thank Google and YouTube for providing us an amazing platform to share our knowledge with a global audience. I would also want to express profound gratitude to my research supervisor, Dr. M. Rajendranath Babu, Associate Professor, Department of Education, Nagaland University, for giving me an opportunity to contribute to this platform. It is only possible with his help and encouragement. In the previous video, we have discussed about affective domain of learning. In this video, we are going to discuss behavioristic perspectives of human learning, Skinner, concept and principles, relevance and applicability, role of teacher and learner. Myself, Ms. Karishma Sonowal, research scholar, Department of Teacher Education, Nagaland University, Kohima Campus, Marymount. Concept of behaviorism. Behaviorism as a method of studying behavior focused its attention totally on the overt or observable behavior. A behaviorist is not interested in the feeling of fear because it is not measurable, but pays attention to the changes in heart rate and blood pressure, which are the effects of fear and can be objectively measured. Key ideas of behaviorism. Some of the key ideas of behaviorism are as follows. Number 1, it focuses on observable learning events as demonstrated by stimulus and response relationships. Number 2, learning always involves a change in behavior. Number 3, mental processes should be excluded from the scientific study of learning. Number 4, the laws governing learning apply equally to all organisms, including human organisms. And number 5, organisms begin life as blank slates. There are no innate laws of behavior. Strengths of behaviorism. The main strengths of behaviorism are as follows. It can be used to formulate behavioral contracts in the school as well as at home. It is helpful in bringing about behavior modification, desired outcome with the help of reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. Cueing responses to behavior allow the learner to react in a predictable way under certain conditions. Success of outcomes is easily measurable. Guarantees specific learning. Ease of application. Weaknesses of behaviorism. The main weaknesses of behaviorism are as follows. It is an extrapolation of animal behavior to humans. Behaviorism fails to explain the development of human languages. Effect of environment in shaping the behavior of a human is not taken into account by the behaviorist. B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning. Operant conditioning begins with Professor B.F. Skinner, 1904 to 1990. of Harvard University. When he was a graduate in the Department of Psychology of Harvard University, he wrote his dissertation in 1931 entitled The Concept of the Reflex in the Description of Behavior. He emphasized that the basic datum for the student of behavior is simply an observed correlation between stimulus-response connection. He was a practical psychologist who conducted several experiments on different reflexes in rats and pigeons. Meaning of operant conditioning. Operant conditioning means roughly changing behavior by the use of reinforcement given after the desired response. Skinner identified three types of responses or operant that can follow behavior. Neutral operants, responses from the environment that neither increase nor decrease the probability of a behavior being repeated. Reinforcers, responses from the environment that increase the probability of a behavior being repeated. Reinforcers can be either positive or negative. Punishers, responses from the environment that decrease the likelihood of a behavior being repeated. Punishment weakens behavior. Operant conditioning proposes that we learn through consequences. It works on the assumption of learning through reward and punishment. Behavior which is positively reinforced tends to be repeated, whereas behavior which is negatively reinforced tends to be avoided. Skinner's experiment. B.F. Skinner, 1948, studied operant conditioning by conducting experiments using animals which he placed in a Skinner box, which is similar to the Thorndike's puzzle box. The box mainly consists of an electric grid floor, a signal light or sound produced at the time of delivering the pallet of food in the food cup or dispenser, and a response lever. It is arranged in such a way that when the hungry rat presses the lever, the feeder mechanism is activated. A light or sound is produced and a small pellet of food is released in the food cup. For doing experiments with pigeons, Skinner made use of another specific apparatus called pigeon box. A pigeon in this experiment had to pick at a lighted plastic key mounted on the wall at head high and was consequently rewarded by receiving grain. Principles of operant conditioning. There are four important principles which are involved in the process of operant conditioning. They are as follows. Number 1. Principle of shaping. Shaping is the most important mechanism used in operant conditioning. It refers to the judicious use of selective reinforcement to bring desirable changes in the behavior of the organism. In the process of shaping, three principles are involved. A. Generalization. Human beings and to some extent animals are capable of generalizing experiences and knowledge acquired in one teeming situation to other situations. B. Habit competition.
At each point of the chain, the correct habit must attain dominance over competing habits. This is accomplished by reinforcing the correct habit alone. C. Chaining. Each segment in the chain must be linked with the next response. Number 2. Principles of extinction. It consists simply of withholding the reinforce when the appropriate response occurs. Withholding of reinforce means extinction of previously established relationship. Number 3. Principle of spontaneous recovery. It refers to the fact that if an organism is removed from the situation for a while after extinction and then returned and again presented with stimulus, his performance will be better than would be predicted from his performance at the end of preceding extinction. Number 4. Principle of reinforcement. A reinforcement is central in operant conditioning theory of Skinner. A reinforcer is any event which changes subsequent behavior when it follows behavior in time. Empirically, we can define a reinforce as any environmental event that is programmed as a consequence of a response that can increase the rate of responding. Relevance of operant conditioning. Behavior modification therapy is much used in clinical and educational psychology, particularly with people with learning disabilities. In the conventional learning situation, it applies largely to issues of class and student management rather than to learning content. It is very relevant to shaping skill performance. A simple way of giving positive reinforcement in behavior modification is in providing compliments, approval, encouragement, and affirmation. A ratio of 5 compliments for every 1 criticism is generally seen as being the most effective in altering behavior in a desired manner. Applications of operant conditioning. B.F. Skinner noted certain weaknesses in the education system of America and developed a new system of learning. If we examine our own system of education, we find that our system also suffers from the same weaknesses. The major weaknesses of our teaching learning system are: Number 1. Behavior is dominated by aversive stimulation. The whole atmosphere of our school is dominated by fear and unpleasant experiences. The schools can use the principles of operant conditioning to eliminate the element of fear from school atmosphere by using positive reinforcement. Number 2. Wide gap between behavior and reinforcement. Generally, in our schools, the desirable behavior of the learners is not immediately reinforced to raise the probability of the recurrence of the same behavior in future. Reinforcing stimuli should follow the response immediately for an effect on the behavior. Therefore, the use of programmed material in the form of a book or machine makes provision for immediate reinforcement. Number 3. Absence of a program of serial reinforcement. Our program of teaching learning does not proceed forward step by step by reinforcing a series of progressive approximation to the final or terminal behavior. The programmed instruction proceeds in a serial order from initial behavior to terminal behavior by reinforcing at each step. Number 4. Objectives are vague. The greatest weakness of our present system of education is that objectives of the courses have not been defined in operational terms. In program instruction, objectives are defined in observable and measurable way. Number 5. Lack of receptivity to new innovations among teachers. Every innovative idea is resisted by traditional teachers and educationists, but the teachers can plan his or her work in advance, specify the terminal behavior, and survey all the conditions of school environment which can provide reinforcement to the students. The teacher may plan contingencies of reinforcement and provide reinforcement at the most appropriate time to the learners. He may involve the students in teaching learning process so that students' interest may be maintained in learning activities. Role of teacher of behavioristic perspective. Number 1. The teacher should give positive reinforcement to motivate learners. Number 2. Too much negative reinforcement should not be given by the teacher to the learners while teaching. Number 3. Teachers should motivate and encourage the learners to enjoy and take interest in learning. And number 4. Teachers must always reward positive behavior in the classroom. Role of the learner of behavioristic perspective. Number 1. The learner should accept positive reinforcement given by the teacher. Number 2. The learner should avoid such behavior for which the teacher gives them negative reinforcement. Number 3. The learner should enjoy and take interest in their learning. Number 4. Learners should always try to develop positive behavior in themselves. Now let us answer the questions. Choose the correct option. Number 1. What is the title of B.F. Skinner's dissertation? A. The concept of the stimulus response in the description of behavior. B. The concept of the reinforcers in the description of behavior. C. The concept of the operants in the description of behavior. Or D. The concept of the reflex in the description of the behavior. And the correct answer is D. The concept of the reflex in the description of the behavior. Next question. Which among the following response from the environment that increase the probability of a behavior being repeated? A. Neutral operant. B. Reinforcer. C. Punisher. D. None of the above. And the correct answer is B. Reinforcer. Third question. Which of the following principles refers to the judicious use of selective reinforcement to bring desirable changes in the behavior of the organism? A. Principle of shaping, B. Principle of extinction, C. Principle of spontaneous recovery, or D. None of the above. And the correct answer is A. Principle of shaping. Question number 4. Which among the following is not a weakness of our teaching learning system? A. Behavior is dominated by aversive stimulation. B. Wide gap between behavior and reinforcement. C. Absence of a program of serial reinforcement. Or D. None of the above. And the correct answer is D. None of the above. Last question. Which principle consists simply of withholding the reinforce when the appropriate response occurs? A. Principle of reinforcement. B. Principle of spontaneous recovery. C. Principle of extinction. Or D. None of the above. And the correct answer is C. Principle of extinction. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe and share it with others. Also, hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.